All righty. My day is going great. Had a great Photoshop class. We got our chips in, so that's what I'm doing this video on. Hello, everyone. We are now live over on Facebook and YouTube. So I wanted to talk about these printers and the chips. And yeah, it looks like they did make an update. So hopefully we won't have as many issues with like the cartridges not recognizing. It still can't be reset. According to them, once we have a set that runs out, I will test that theory. But as of right now, I'm still saying that they cannot be reset. We won't know that until we use it and then like let it go down some and see if it resets to full. So I'm not saying we have to wait for it to go all the way out, but we just have to use these a little bit to see if they can be reset. But they said that they can't, so I'm pretty sure that they're still, because when they were sold to us, they were sold as single-use chips still. So, but hello. All right, I just got to go change my audience over here. You just purchased a 7820. Awesome. Are you going to use it for sublimation or just as a regular pigment ink printer? Which way do you plan on using it? I don't like this color on here at all. Oh, wow. I removed it and then put it back. And now this thing looks crazy. Yeah, I don't like this color at all. Man. For regular pigment ink. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. When it comes to the black ink that comes with the printer, depends on what type of substrate you plan to, well, type of not substrate media you plan to print on. We found that when it comes, like whatever they did with that pigment ink, it actually smears on even on matte things. If you rub your hand across it, it will smear, and then on glossy, it actually scratches right off. So we're going to talk about that as well. But the chips are restocked. They are back in stock. For those of you who have been asking about them and you were wanting your chips, they are back in stock, guys. All right, so you can get the individual ones as well as the sets, and you can also get the cartridges with the extra chips as well. Now, the cartridges, we still had some, so they still have the old chip on, and that's why I wanted to do this video, because if once you get these, you're going to see that they are different. But these still have the old style chips on them, which can potentially still have an issue, but we're going to go over that part. Okay. Let me just get this all, let me just reshare this again. Although, you know what? I forgot. I actually went live in my groups. So, alrighty. Let's go copy, post. I don't even know if I just copied that. Yes. Yes, it did on HTV. So HTV, you can't use pigment ink on HTV at all. So yeah, that's gonna come off. You cannot use your pigment ink on actual HTV. So even if it's like the Caesar Easy Color Print Easy, those you must use EcoSolvent ink. You cannot print to EcoSolvent. You cannot print to printable HTV from a pigment ink printer, yes, that is going to come off. But on regular glossy paper, like photo paper, sticker paper, and things like that, it was scraping off. But yeah, that it's never going to work on there. Okay, so hello, everyone. Welcome to the live broadcast. I am Shakia, the professor of HS Inc. 365. We are the parent company of Silhouettes Anonymous, where I teach you guys to use and master Silhouette Studio as well as the Silhouette machines. Our product line is Honestly Speaking. We carry sublimation ink, sublimation paper, pigment ink, and the accessories for it, such as cartridges and chips for those printers and chip resetters for the old workforce. The chip resetters do not work on the newer workforce printers. We're going to go over that and why you may have it filled but still see a low ink warning. So we're going to go through all of that. If you are someone that has been interested and you wanted more information about the 7820, 7840, 7310 printer, this is going to be the live for you. Tag a friend, give this video a thumbs up. It's going to help the algorithm. There's a lot of people who are interested in this printer for various reasons, whether it's as a regular ink printer or a sublimation printer. Some people do use it for EcoSolvent. I'm not really one that, when it comes to EcoSolvent and using the workforce printers, I didn't have great luck when I used my other, my 7720. So I'll kind of talk about that a little bit, but we do have all that on our website, shop.hsinc365.com. And then, of course, 365 Creative Academy, where we help you to unlock your creativity in a wide variety of classes, trainings, and programs dedicated to learning graphic designing, Photoshop, Silhouette Studio, and different projects like party favors, graduation items, 3D foam board, like balloon marquees, mosaic balloon frames, light marquee frames, and so much more. All right, so let's get into this. So my question to you guys is, who has a workforce printer? Like if it's the old one, if you have the 7710, 7720, 7210, 7610, 7620, or 7110, should anything happen to those, you're going to need this information if you want another workforce printer. And then also, who here has, so a 3 if you have the old school workforce printer, type in a 6 if you have the newer ones, and 5 if you have been looking into the newer workforce printers. I don't know what number to do. So let's just say a 1 if you are just interested in printers in general and you want to know the benefits of these workforce printers. All right, so you have a 7710, 7720, and 7210. I also have those. So I have 2 7210s, I have 4 7720s, and then I have some of the newer ones as well. So I love my original workforces because you can reset them. So I'm always praying over those things that nothing ever happens to them. I do have the 7820 and 7840 printers, but nothing beats the old ones for me. So you guys have the originals, I have a 7620. I need to purge my lines. Okay. So 6, you have the newer workforce. 5, you are interested in learning about or thinking about purchasing a workforce. Okay. You just want general information. Awesome. Looking into the new ones. 6, I think you cut out. I have the 7310. So yeah, so this 7820, 7840, 7310, or the C7000 are all of those newer printers. So you have the Workforce 2850. So that is a small format printer. You can print only up to 8.5 inches wide, but you can print up to 47 inches long. So let's say for grad season, you want to do ties, or you want to do graduation stoles, you can still do that as one print. Hopefully we get our rolls before grad season, but you can do it the long way, or you can piece them together. Okay. Me too. I love those printers. So you have two 7720s. I have a 2720. I want to work for us. I appreciate this live session. Awesome. So you have a 7720. So I just brought a 7310 for sublimation. Okay, so you have the original workforce printers. 7710 blue won't print. So with that one, what all have you done for that one? Have you tried changing out that cartridge? Did you try doing the push air to push the ink through it to get it to back working? Does it just say that the cartridge is not recognized? Exactly what's going on with your cyan channel, because you might be able to still use that one. Okay, the 3820, is that a workforce or a EcoTank? Sparky here, it's not showing me again. I'm the one who needs to purge. Oh, you're over here. Okay. I'm saying, is that you that said that? Or over here, over there? I'm not sure. So the original workforce printers are the 7610, 7620, 7210, 7110, 7610, 7620, 7110. That's like 2 series ago. Those prints are like damn near 10 years old. And then you have the 7610, 7620, and 7210. Those stopped being manufactured like completely about 2 years ago. They still had some floating around, and they've really like not been sold at all for about a year and some change now. Okay, so yeah, that would still be, I mean, even if it wasn't, it's still a small format print. I know the wide format printer numbers, like I know those off the top of my head. I know exactly what those are. I just wasn't sure if that was an EcoTank or a workforce. So we don't carry the cartridges for that. Well, we don't carry chips for that one. Technically, it uses the small cartridges, but we don't carry the chips for that one. So, all right. Let's see. I just brought Epson EcoTank 2800 ready to get all your tips. Awesome. All of the above, it recognized it, but will not print. I even brought the formula to clean it. And are you sure that it was primed? Okay, so let's talk about these printers. Yes, definitely check them. We're going to talk about that too. You want to check them as soon as you get them. All right. And I'll tell you how to do that. All right. Without having to like close it down and all that kind of good jazz. All right. So the difference, I think someone asked up here, was one better than the other? Hold on. Where was it? Are they better than the EcoTank? So I'm going to break this down for you real quick about the differences between these two printers. One, the workforce printers are the most cost-effective printers to purchase. With the old models, they were the most cost-effective printer all around because they had auto reset chips, or you can use a chip resetter so you can keep using that same cartridges instead of chips over and over and over again. I still recommend maybe changing out those cartridges, especially depends on like how much you're using them and how much you have to take them in and out. Anywhere from like 6 months to a year, I do recommend that you change them. If you have, sometimes some people have to do that sooner than that because it's a lot of wear and tear on taking them out, putting them back in to reset them. So that was, some people don't like the fact that you have to take the cartridges out because they're smaller cartridges. And, when it comes to refilling them and resetting them, and your prints can stop in the middle because the cartridges are controlled by the chip. Well, the print head is controlled by the chip. Your printer never knows what type of ink is in here or how much ink is in here. The chip is what communicates with the printer to say, hey, I'm completely full, I'm halfway full, I'm 3/4 full, I'm empty. The chip, it's like a countdown counter. It stores a certain number of chips. And as you're printing, it just subtracts that number away until this counter reaches 0. It's kind of how these work. They are the least expensive, but give you the most features. The only thing that I guess I said, I guess is a con or a disadvantage for some people is going to be the fact that you can't reset it and you have to constantly fill it. But it gives you the most features. These workforce printers, 7820, 7840, 7310, these are all black ones. The C7000 is just like the 7840. It's just white. They're all wide format, meaning you can print up to 13 inches wide and up to 47 inches long. They also have way better resolution than all of the EcoTank printers, except for the 8550, which is $800 retail, but sometimes it's on sale, and the 16600 or 16650, and those are $1,000 and $1,200 printers. But it has way better resolution than the 15,000 or any of the smaller format printers. They also print way faster than any of the EcoTank printers except for the 16650, because the workforce printer actually still prints, if I'm not mistaken, when I did the video, I think it still prints faster than the 8550 printer. And it's easier to maintain. Oftentimes I get a lot of people that post questions, they're asking me questions or tag, or I come across posts where you've been using it and all of a sudden a color just stops printing with the EcoTank printers, just out of nowhere. You know, people say, oh, you got to make sure you print every day, and you're printing every day. And then all of a sudden color just stops because the ink can back up in the line and it just has these weird clogs and it just does not clear. Sometimes you have to just let it sit for 12 to 24 hours. It will go back working. If you just keep doing purge files and print head cleanings, you're just making it worse. Once it stops printing, if you do a couple print head cleanings and it doesn't work, it doesn't help it, leave it alone for at least 12 to 24 hours to see if it'll settle and it'll go back to printing. If it doesn't, then you want to do a power cleaning. And once you do the power cleaning, you cannot check the nozzle check. You want to just let that sit again for at least 12 hours and then go in and check it. But sometimes you can do all of that and it just doesn't correct it. And you've spent all this money and now it becomes a paperweight. Ask me how I know. It's because I have one over there, like that's just a paperweight, big old paperweight. The workforce printers, all you have, like for the most part, sometimes, like, I mean, if your print head is just gone and it's just bad, then, you know, these maintenance things won't really help. But it is easy to change out the print head of a workforce printer compared to an EcoTank printer. So again, the maintenance is easier on a workforce printer. If one of your colors happen to be clogged, you're just going to push air through the vent hole. I have several videos on how to do that. And that normally clears that up like almost. I was like, whoa, why is it coming off? Almost immediately. So it, like I said, it's easier for maintenance and it costs less. Now, so if you only have a small budget to start off with, right? The workforce is a great printer to look into because the 7820 printer, which is an all-in-one, it just has one front tray that will allow you to okay, I gotta hurry up and do this. Yeah, I gotta call my mom. So it will allow you to print 11 inches wide from the tray. For 13 inches wide, you have to use the rear feed. But the thing that's different between the old workforce and the newer workforce is you can sit 20 sheets in the rear feed, whereas with the older workforce, it was one sheet at a time. So since you have to do 13 inches from the back, they allow, like, you can put up to 20 sheets back there and it will just feed them through. That particular printer retails for $249. Big difference to have a 13-inch printer. The cheapest EcoTank printer starts at $700. $700 is what an ET 15,000 is their retail price. You can get the 7820 for $249. The 7840 and C7000 are also all-in-ones. So you do get a scanner, which is great for creating your own templates. And you have 2 trays in the front. So you can put your like 8.5 and leave that kind of sized up for 8.5-inch paper. And then you can put 11-inch paper on the bottom and then have your 13-inch in the back tray. So you're able to have 3 different sizes of paper in the printer at one time. That one retails for $299. $299 for the 7840 printer. The 7310 is not an all-in-one. It is just a regular printer, so it doesn't have a scanner, but it does have 2 trays in the front. And then you have the, so back up. When you're going to print, it'll say cassettes. And then the rear feed, instead of saying rear feed, it says rear tray. It's weird the way it's worded now. So the front are cassettes. The back rear feed is called a tray. So don't get that part confused. So the 7310 has the 2 front cassettes or trays, and then it has the rear feed, but no scanner. I'm sorry, nope, I just messed that up. The 7310 is $249. The 7820 is $299. The 7840 and C7000, they retail for $329. $349. $349 is what they retail for. I realized once I said it at the end. So the cheapest one is the one that's not an all-in-one, the 7310, and that one retails for $249. Then you have the 7820, which is an all-in-one, that's $299. The 7840, which is the all-in-one with 2 trays, is $349.99. So it's like $350. All right. So as you can see, very, very big difference in the cost of the printers from those and the what's those things called? The EcoTank printers. Now, when you have to get the cartridges for it, I'm gonna kind of break that down as far as how many refills you're gonna get. So a 15,000 starts at $600, right? So we're going to subtract even the cheapest. Well, that one has a scanner on it. So let's just say the 7820. So we're going to take away basically $300. So that is your $300. The kit with the cartridges, or the cartridges with the chips and the syringes on our site is $68. All right. So that leaves you $232. A set of replacement chips cost, I forgot the cost. Hold on. A set of replacement chips is $60. So we're going to divide that by, so you'll get, it says like 3.86. So throw in a little couple more dollars, you can pretty much get 4. So really 5, because you're going to have your original, and then you're going to have 4 refills, like 4 of the chips, for the cost of the EcoTank printer. That is, the differences in that, right? I personally, because I use for sublimation, I use plain paper setting with Honesty Speaking paper. When I did the test on it, I got anywhere between 150 and 180 prints before I had to change my chip. And I mainly print on 11x17 and 13x19 and the rolls on that particular printer. I don't do a lot of the smaller prints. I just don't really use a lot of the smaller paper, except for for certain things. Even when I'm doing tumblers, I rather print 2 to 11x17 paper because I have a wide format printer. And then I'm always using 8.5x14 over the 8.5x11. So I got through, like I said, 150 to 180 prints per like chip. So when I got to like 150, I think my black ran out. I got to 180, and I want to say my cyan ran out. It also depends on, the designs that you're printing, if they're heavy on blue, heavy on purples, reds, greens, things like that, yellows. And I got to like 180 prints before I had to change out one of the chips. And then the other two still had prints on it, but I was about to do a big print job. So I just changed out all of the chips. So that just kind of gives you a general range of how long those chips will last you. Now, if you're using a paper that you have to use premium presentation paper, matte, you're going to cut your number of prints in half almost, because it's almost equivalent to printing, like, instead of just like how it sees it, and says a countdown counter, instead of counting it as one print, it's like it's counting it as like 4 to 5 prints, like, because you're using something that's using so much ink. So using premium matte, you're going to cut down the number of prints that you can do on those printers. So after 4 refills, it's like, you're still pumping money into it, where you would have paid off a 15,000. And then after probably like, it's another $100. So like basically 4.5, 5 refills, you would have paid off at 85.50. So that's up to you. Some people prefer to have the EcoTank printers, because once you have them, you don't have to worry about it unless you have maintenance issues with them. So that just kind of gives you a little bit of a price comparison, the Workforce to the EcoTank printers. All right, so let me go over here real quick. Yeah, my EcoTank 15,000 prints so slow. But it's also, are you using premium matte, or are you using plain paper set to high? If you're using it for sublimation. On any of the printers, premium matte is going to print significantly slower. Yeah, I don't do anything with HP printers. Sorry. I just got my 8550 because my Workforce just stopped. Are you using it for sublimation or as a regular printer? I have a Workforce 7710. Also, do you use yours mostly for sublimation? So I have two 7210s that are sublimation. I have one 7720 that's sublimation at the house. And I have two 7210s that I use for pigment ink, because I mainly use a lot of pigment ink. I do sublimation because when we sell sublimation paper, but I had my 7720s, and I've also had 76 series. I use those mainly for pigment ink, because I was doing like chip bags, very large print and cut centerpieces, invitations, obituaries, stickers, things like that. So I have a mixture of both. Oh, you were asking someone else, not me. My bad. It's always been used as a regular printer. Okay. So for the sublimation, since you're using sublimation, are you using premium presentation paper matte for your print setting? All right, so let's see. My 7210 prints better yes, it's going to print better because it has a higher resolution. The Workforce printers have the best resolution. So if you ever, I'm not going to do it on this one, but I have a whole video and I broke it down, and I went to the website and I showed you the differences in the resolutions and the print speeds of them. So yes, it is definitely going to print 1,000 times better, because the 7620 is it's not meant to be a high efficiency printer. I wish I'd known that. I have 3 EcoTanks. I've been saying that since day one. So hopefully, maybe you got those because you didn't find me in groups. Everyone's going to say, don't get a Workforce, because of they don't like the cartridge situation. But on paper, and like in theory, the Workforce printers are a better quality printer than the EcoTank printers, hands down. Yes, I agree. I had a clog line in my ET 2750. Couldn't figure out what it was at first. Even with all the cleaning cycles, had to remove tubes and inject air. Yes. That is so true about EcoTanks. It happened to me and a friend. I got a workforce. Been something ever since. Been good. Oh, been good ever since. Okay. I'm making you nervous. Why am I making you nervous? The 7820. How hard is it to convert one that has been used as a regular ink? It is as simple as 1, 2, 3. There is all these videos that came out saying to convert them, and they were all these scary situations. I don't understand why they were doing that to y'all. It's literally put the ink in there, one printhead cleaning, and you're done. When I'm setting up workforce printers, I always start with the Epson ink cartridges, which is the regular ink. And it doesn't matter if you did one print or if you did 1,000 prints. It's still going to be the same way to switch it to sublimation. Now, you can't go from sublimation back to pigment ink that easy, but to go from pigment ink to sublimation, you're going to... Okay, so not sure. I'm going to show here first. I'm going to show you guys. So the way it comes, this is the front. This is the fill hole. This is the vent hole. Fill hole, vent hole. Fill hole, vent hole. These are the chips. Fill hole, vent hole. You want to take, when you are filling them, you're going to take all of these out and you're going to discard them, put them in a bin somewhere. You won't need these again. Okay. You're then going to fill that hole. You're going to take your colored one because it has the tab. It's easier to take it in and out when you need to fill it. You're going to put that in the front. Nothing goes back in the back hole. Nothing goes in here. You're going to put these in your printer. It's going to do an initializing cycle. So the new printers, it automatically does an initializing cycle, which is nothing more than a print head cleaning. After that's done, you want to do another, well, it's two ways you can do it really. So you can either do another print head cleaning, right? And you'll be good to go. Or if you want to just do the one print head cleaning, once you go and you switch these out, y'all remember my video about push air? What you're doing with that is you're forcing the ink that's in here through your print head. So if you want to avoid doing the actual print head cleaning, when you go to switch them and you take out your regular cartridges and put your sub ones in, put your paper towel in there, move you're going to take the top off, you're going to move it over, you're going to push air through it to force out whatever little bit of pigment ink might be in there. Move it back over, take the paper towel out, close it. It's going to initialize. You're ready to go. How you test it, once it does its initializing cycle, do a nozzle check. Make sure all of your lines are good. Take that, press it to a scrap piece of fabric. If it transfers, you're done. It does not take a lot to go from regular pigment ink to sublimation. Now, EcoTanks are different. Once you put Epson ink in an EcoTank, if you don't get all of that ink out and you put that sub ink on there, you are killing it. It will not work anymore. I did a live video, and I demonstrated that. So I had a syringe, I had pigment ink and sub ink in it. It's still somewhat transferred. I put dye ink and sublimation ink, and it did not transfer at all. It killed the ink. I used your tips to purge my lines not too long ago. I totally appreciate the tips you shared because I learned something new. It did well for a second, then it stopped. So I got to figure out what's going on with the inconsistency, pigment ink. So what's probably going on with it, did you prime it? I don't know if you're using our cartridges or if you're using another brand. So if you are using ours, what happens with most people when they push air is they don't prime it. That circle is actually where the ink comes from. So you have to prime these cartridges. No need to ask. Of course, I have a video on that. So you have to prime them. If your cartridge looks like this, you have to prime it. If you have, see right now, this has the vent hole, it's clear. If you have your vent hole in there, like if it's plugged, it will eventually stop. This needs to be open. This is closed. This needs to be open. On any cartridge, your vent hole, when it's in your printer, must be open. So that could be why. My 15,000 is a paperweight now. Has a paper jam that won't go away. Yeah, those printers were having a lot of issues with paper jams as well. So yes, those printers, the ink that comes with those printers, it is pigment ink. The Durabright Ultra is pigment ink. What our pigment ink is, it's a cost-effective replacement. A set of 8 XL 252 cartridges are about $30. But when you buy ours, you're just able to refill it. So it is a more cost-effective way to utilize your printer as just a regular printer. These right here, this was printed from that printer, and this is pigment ink. My EcoTank is Sublimation. My 7720 is pigment ink. Are you using the Epson ink, or are you using refillable inks for your pigment ink? What about a workforce for EcoSolvent? I'll go back to that because I don't really necessarily recommend it, but I'll go back to that in a minute. I'm so hating this color on this. I don't know why it's messed up like this. I just got a 7710 for $40. Works wonderfully. Awesome. Hopefully you are using HS ink cartridges and ink in that. Hey, just say, all right, give me a second. I'm going to talk about that. So you said you primed it. Have you tried a new set of cartridges? The one thing I always tell people, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So if you have to change one of the variables. So if you're saying you've primed it, it's still having that issue, it's not being consistent. The one thing that I would recommend is getting either a new set. If you're using it for sublimation, get a new set of new set of cartridges. Get a new set of cartridges and see if that corrects it, because these cartridges do go bad. If you have if you're using it as a regular printer, get a set of Epson cartridges and see if that makes a difference. And then you'll know if it was your printer itself or if it was the cartridges. But you have to change a variable. That is what troubleshooting is. You can't keep using and doing the same thing over and over again and thinking that you're troubleshooting. You have to change one of the variables to identify where the issue might be. Well, as I said, you're gonna have to change one of the variables. And if it's a case where your print head is going bad, you have to change out your print head. These printers don't last forever, guys. Especially if you are really working them, they're not going to last forever. We have 2 sitting in the warehouse that just stopped working. No matter what we did, the alignment was off. We couldn't get rid of the lines. It was when you do a print head, when you do a nozzle check, it was all the lines were there, but they were shifted and it was an alignment issue and we just couldn't get it to align. And then we have another one where it just kept, it wouldn't pick up the paper. So we just use it as like for replacement parts if I need it. So we have 2, they don't last forever. Okay. Oh, you have all 3 of them sitting in the box. All righty then. She got all 3 of them. So as an EcoSolvent printer, I am one where it might bore you to death, but I talk about ink types a lot. Okay. I talk about ink types a lot. I don't have the EcoSolvent ink here with me, but I do have a video where I've shown that and I've broken down the inks. EcoTank printers use dye ink, right? It doesn't look, now those I might have in here. Hold on, do I have my, no, I don't have them over here, but it uses dye ink. Watch it, go back, search EcoSolvent or search inks and stuff. Like honestly speaking, in EcoSolvent, I talk about that, or like what's the hype and all that stuff, and you'll see an actual comparison of the inks. So dye ink looks like food coloring. The yellow ink looks more like orangish, like, you know, like food coloring. The magenta ink doesn't look red or pink. It looks like it, when you're looking at it, it's dark. Now you hold it to the light, then you can see the color. Same thing with the cyan. It's a dye ink. So when you put EcoSolvent ink in an EcoTank printer that uses dye ink, you're going to get better results, and it's going to be closer to the colors that it should be. When you use a workforce printer that uses pigment ink, it is pigmented. It looks the color that it says that it is. You look at it, it looks yellow, it looks magenta. You can see the cyan. And the EcoSolvent with EcoSolvent ink, every last one of them looks like it's black. Like until you hold it, you kind of see it, but every last one, if you look at them, they just look black. So because they are different types of ink and the printer mixes them a different way, certain colors will come out kind of a funny, like, I'm not going to say it's like muted, but it's like washed out kind of look. Some people love it. They love using their, like, they feel like they don't have an issue with using their workforce printer as an EcoSolvent printer. When I've looked at their prints, for my standards, I'm like, you can clearly tell the difference in the color, especially things like faces of people. I will post the pictures because I actually have them on my phone. When I did it with my old workforce, my 7720, I put EcoSolvent ink in it. This was what, maybe 4 years ago when I did that. So this EcoSolvent ink in these printers is not something that's new. It seems to be catching on a lot more, but it's not anything that's new. Now that the EcoTank, like Epson, are now pushing EcoTanks, more people are doing EcoSolvent ink, but I did this 4 years ago. So it's, like I said, it's nothing new. I didn't care for the colors. You're going to see how the Elsa and Anna looks. It just looks washed out. So I personally don't recommend it, but you're going to see YouTube videos, TikTok videos, probably some reels and stuff, and they're going to say they're using a workforce printer with EcoSolvent ink. That is up to you to take that chance and see if they can, if they're doing videos or they're doing trainings to answer the questions that you have and ask questions about colors. See if they can show you a printout, not just of something that is solid like this. Mainly faces and things like that is what you need to be mindful of when it comes to using a workforce printer with EcoSolvent ink. I will never do it. I have a Roland BN20. Even if I didn't have a Roland BN20, that would probably be the one thing that prompted me to get an EcoTank printer. I'm not team EcoTank at all. I do want to kind of try the 80. I mean, it's not, well, the 8550, I've heard great things about it, but for me, because it is not a waterproof ink and you can still have some smearing of the color, I just cannot. And then the 16600 and 16650, they are very pricey. Like, I'm like, why am I going to pay $1,000 when a workforce does the same thing? So for me, I just can't see myself spending $1,000 or $1,100 or $1,200 on a 16600 or a 16650 when a regular workforce does the same thing. No, you cannot. So that's the other thing, right? With this kind, you can use a chip resetter. They are auto reset chips. With this one, it is a single-use chip. You cannot replace it. You cannot reset it. You have to replace it. So that's really what this live was about, is the fact that we have the replacement chips back in stock and they have updated it. So if you look at this one, how it used to look, this is the newer one. So they say that it's not supposed to have as many, like, it's not supposed to have any issues with not recognizing, because they've updated how they program them and the way the chips are. So you can see here, the chips are different. We still have a bunch of cartridges with these chips, so you still may experience issues where when you put these in your printer, it's going to say not recognized. We do not exchange them. As of right now, we are still allowing you to return them at your own cost, and we will refund you for just that chip. Excuse me, but we don't exchange them because we can keep sending a bunch of them and they don't work in your printer. So yeah, we do not exchange them. We just allow you to send it to us as of right now. That may change in the future, and then we just give you a refund as long as it's within the time frame. So what we recommend that you do, like say right now, you have one, you order just the chips. We recommend that you do an ink cartridge replacement. You're going to take all of your cartridges out. You're going to slide the chip that's on there off, and you're going to take a new chip and you're going to slide it on. Once you put that on there, you're going to put anywhere from 2 to 3 cartridges inside the printer. Don't put all of them. So put them in the printer. You're going to close it. When you close it, it's going to either show a check or it's going to show an X. If it shows an X, it's not reading that chip. If it shows a check, you know that it's good and you've pretty much registered with your printer. So then you're going to open it up, take one of the cartridges out, put the one that was missing back in, or put it in, not back in, put that one in, close the top. If they read, they read. If it doesn't read, it's going to show an X. That is how you check them so that you can let us know within the correct time frame of you ordering your chips if they don't work. If you're outside of that window, we don't accept the return at all. So you want to check your chips as soon as you get them, All right. How do you find the 101? Go to the search bar, search help, type in help, enter. It'll bring up the options for you. Right now, I'm going to take it off. I'm not doing any 2-hour sessions. I'm only doing 1-hour sessions because we got a lot going on. So I can't do 2-hour sessions. So you can only book a 1-hour session with me right now. If you book a 2, I end up refunding you for the other hour. So the chips are for, like, these cartridges are for the 7820. These are the new workforce printers. 7820, 7840, 7310, C7000 is what these cartridges and these chips are for. No, I did answer that. No, you cannot. Only thing you can use is EcoSolvent ink. So for actual printable HTV, it has to be EcoSolvent. Most people don't use latex ink on it, but you cannot use it. Now, Jet Pro 3G, yes, but actual printable HTV, no, you cannot. But I did answer that earlier. All right. So someone says, what's a good printer for 13x19? I'm a workforce gal. I like workforce printers. So it's going to be these printers, 7820, 7840, 7310, are your options. If you want an EcoTank, doesn't matter. Epson got 1,000,001 EcoTank printers. All these different numbers, all these different price points. They have an 8.5, a small format printer that's like $800. Stupid. I don't know who buying that, but they got one that's like $700-800. I'm like, that's just ridiculous. Okay. So the only EcoTank printers that allow you to print 13 inches wide is the 15,000, retails at $700, 8550 retails at $800, 16,600, $1,100, 16,650. I want to say it's like $1,300 now, or like $1,250 or something like that. So those are the only 4 printers, EcoTank printers, that are 13-inch wide. 15,000, 8550, 16,600, 16,650. And then you have your workforces, 7820, 7840, 7310. All right. So that's pretty much everything. Like I said, they are going to look different. So don't be alarmed. Like, you're going to look at yours like, wait a minute, do I have the right chips? They've updated them to make them more stable. Always check on there. So instead of saying 812 XL and then like black or M or white, so now it just says 8 and then M. So it's a new chip. It says 8 and then M. But they're supposed to be, we tested quite a few of them already. Like the ones that are on the site now are ones that we put not just in one, we tested them in both our 7820 and our 7840 printers. I use 7820 for sublimation. My 7840 is my regular pigment ink printer. And we tested them in both. We went through quite a few sets and we tested all of them in both printers. And those, like, none of them came up with any issues whatsoever on our end. And that's what's on the website now. We will test the rest of them. But so far, so good. They told us that they have made updates to these. 7840, 7820. So 7820 is all in one tray. 7840, all in one, 2 trays. 7310 is 2 trays, standard printer, does not have a scanner. You don't see cartridges with chips. What do you mean? Our cartridges automatically come with chips. So they're not going to say with chips. Our cartridges automatically come with chips. We don't sell these pre-filled. We do sell the 252s because some people are fearful of priming them. This one, you don't have to do anything to it. You literally just fill it and that's it. So we will never sell these pre-filled because you can just do that part yourself because it doesn't require priming. Yeah, sometimes they are on sale. She says that it's on sale for $6.49 if you're interested in EcoTanks. I'm not an EcoTank person. So one thing I do like about, dye-based printers gives you a better color gamut. The 8550 does allow you to print longer. You can actually print up to 78 inches long. So being able to do longer banner runs, it can be a plus with those. And because it's a photo printer, it has its resolution is absolutely frigid amazing. But I just don't like dye-based printers. Once I got pigment ink and the fact that I can wet this and it does not run, it doesn't run. I could never go back to dye ink. Nothing happens when you wet it. That's one of the reasons why I love pigment ink printers. So because I do centerpieces and I have one on my old printer and it rained and you could just see all the color just coming off. I'm just like, oh my God, that's when I started using sealant over it or laminating over it. And so that just becomes an extra step, extra money. With these, they don't. So if let's say somebody wants to actually put their Capri Suns in ice, they can. It's not going to run. They can put their water in ice. It's not going to run. Resolution, as in your print quality. But their scans are different between the smaller workforces. The least expensive or lower expensive, cheaper, whatever you want to call them, EcoTank printers and the workforces, the scan resolution is also different. All right. Any last minute, last call for questions. Last call for questions. I got to get out of here. Got to go do some stuff. Last call for questions. Yes. So our ink, here's the thing, right? So we do sell it. I don't care who it is. All ink, especially sublimation ink, is made to match pigment ink color profiles. That's what they're made for. But all of our now I know my mother was in here moving stuff. Okay, I have one here. Whether it is our pigment ink or sublimation ink, which I've already taken the label off of this one because I was doing some stuff with it. All of our bottles are keyed for EcoTank printers. They are 140 milliliters. Oof. And they're all keyed for EcoTank. They're keyed for EcoTank printers. About the 101, yes, I did. Yes, it will work great for planner stickers. 7820s are $299. 7820s are $299. Now, there was actually a sale. The 7840s were on sale for less than the 7820s. And that's the same way it was with the 7720s and 7710s. So I know it was like last week they were on sale. What the hell is going on here? Oh no, this is ridiculous. Okay, y'all got to go because yeah, this is getting ridiculous. Exactly. So can you use the pigment ink? Okay, so pigment, there are two different things. Pigment ink and eco solvent are not the same thing. Eco solvent isn't a print type or something like that. Like, it's not. There are two different types of ink that serve two different purposes. Hold on one second. All right. I'm going to flip you guys around, but yeah, they're different. They're not the same at all. I'm about to go to the website now. Will your pigment ink work? Okay. Yes, because that is a pigment ink printer. You can put any ink in the printer itself, but yes, you can use our pigment ink as a cost-effective replacement. It's over the Epson, the genuine Epson cartridges. But those printers, the ink that's in there is pigment ink. So our ink isn't going to give you any more of an advantage over that one. That is pigment ink. If you're using the Epson ink now, if you wet it, it's not going to run. That is pigment ink. Thank you. You can make any Epson printer a sublimation printer. You can make any Epson printer a sublimation printer. All right, so let's turn you around. Turn you around. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the main page. And actually, I'm going to move my face over here and pull y'all back a little bit. Okay. So this is the collection for sublimation, because most people come because it's with our paper. I'm going to create one that's for pigment. Only reason why let me tell you why I didn't have one up until now for pigment ink. Y'all don't like to read. And it clearly says that it's pigment ink. And like, I guess like if this is sold out, y'all think that I can buy pigment ink and it's the same thing. And so when we had it before and we had both of them listed, so many people was buying pigment ink and they were buying the wrong ink. So since we sell the sublimation paper, like on this line, everything here is about sublimation. So that's why we put it big and bold that it's for sublimation. If you're looking for regular ink, you don't click here. This is only for sublimation. So you click here, it gives you everything for the workforce 7820, 7820, 7710, 7720, 7610, 7620, 7110, 7210. So that's all of these printers right here. Also, it works for the 3620 and the 3640. These all use 252 cartridges. Okay, so it tells you right here which printers those are for. And these, you can use a chip resetter. All right, so we're going to come back over here. You go here. So that was the pink icon. I'm going to go back for TikTok. You click on the pink icon. You are going to go here and it'll tell you that it is for 7820, 7840, 7310, and C7000. I got to change that so it highlights it. So these are the printers. There is no small format printer that uses 812 cartridges. They are all wide format, meaning 13 inches wide and up to 47 inches long. So with these, you have the kit that you purchase. It's going to come with a set of cartridges. All of our cartridges come with chips. They're not going to say with chips like that because they all come with chips. Your syringes and needles and your ink. There is no chip resetter. Some of you guys like to go and look at the other one because it has a chip resetter, thinking that you're going to get that one. And it's like, oh, no, this doesn't work. Well, the cartridges are too short. Yeah, because you brought the wrong one. So this is the one for the newer workforce printers. You can buy the kit by itself, or you can go ahead and add your extra set of chips in with it. That way you're saving on shipping, okay? If you already have your kit, you can go down here to replacement chips. And a full set is $60. That's going to give you one cyan, one magenta, one yellow, one black, one cyan, one magenta, one yellow. If you only need single chips because you go through a lot of black or you go through a lot of magenta, you can purchase single chips by themselves. Okay, the full set is 60. Single chips are 17. Okay. Okay, someone says, just chimed in. So are they brand new chips or have you been using them? They are single-use chips. So as you use them, once the countdown counter, they are not resettable. Like you can't reset them. They're not everlasting. Like, like Willy Wonka, the everlasting gumdrop or jawbreaker, whatever that thing is. It's not everlasting. They do run out. And once they run out, you come to hsinc365.com and you purchase new chips. So then if you want the pigment ink one, it's right here. So if you're going to use your printer for pigment ink, our black pigment ink does not smear. It does not flake off on glossy. So even if you want to use your Epson inks, your regular Epson inks, I highly recommend that you at least get the black ink. We don't sell the cartridges separately, so you'll just have those, but you can get the black pigment ink. You can order the pigment ink by itself and just order a set of cartridges. And of course, it comes, like I said, with everything here. And there is no chips for sublimation, chips for pigment ink. It's just replacement chips. The only difference between these two kits is the ink that we're going to include in the box. So if they were brand new, that is one of the things, and it's as a disclaimer on here. So I'm going to come down. We have a disclaimer on here. Chip not recognized issue. Third-party non-OEM chips are not guaranteed to work in your printer and can trigger a cartridge not recognized error. These chips are programmed to match the firmware of the printer. However, some printers do reject the chips, yet those same chips can work in a different printer. hsinc 365, honestly speaking, has no control over which printers the chips will the chips work and or do not work in. We have done our due diligence and tested all the chips before they are sent out on our in-house 7820 and 7840 printers. By purchasing this item, you understand that the chip may not work and hsinc 365 will not issue any exchanges. The defective chips only can be returned at your expense for a refund. That is our current policy. That will be switching very soon because, I mean, we've been saying this and it's like you use it at your own risk. We're trying to help you guys out and not leave you stuck with a product that does not work. But we're hoping that these updated chips will correct that issue. And if these chips are, you know, the majority of them are just working, we will not be that policy will change. But this is a known issue no matter where you are getting them from. Almost all of us are getting them from the same vendors overseas. This was a known issue because these were a newer technology. When these printers first came out, there wasn't a third-party chip that can be less expensive. What people had to do was buy the Epson cartridges, which are damn near 2 times higher, and then take the chips off. You're wasting all of that ink that is in the cartridge. They had to take the chips off and put them on the refillable cartridges, which is why some people ask, does it come with chips? Because when we first started selling them, they did not come with chips because you took the Epson chips off and you put it on there. But now they're third party. So they've only been, they've been programming them for probably about a year now. So they've said that they figured out how to stabilize it because each one has to have its own serial number. So they said that these are updated and it should not trigger as many, or shouldn't really trigger the cartridge not recognized. All of the ones that we tested are showing okay in our printer. But again, we still can't guarantee what that means for your printer. If you have ordered them from us and you are within your return window, you can if you just ordered cartridges, you can take that chip off and return it, and we will issue you the refund that is equal to that for that chip. But that's it. No, updating the firmware will not help it. No, you cannot. You cannot use pigment ink with Caesar Easy Subli. That is for sublimation. Full sets are 60, single ones are 17. All of the ones I just named, the same printers that you use for sublimation are the same workforce printers that you use for pigment ink, because that's actually what comes in the box, pigment ink. Let's see. Everlasting Gobstoppers. That's what it was. Thank you. I knew it was something. Okay, so there's really no need to update your firmware, guys. Your firmware does not, so I'm not sure if you're wanting to update that because you're having an issue. If you're getting that warning, if you click OK on your printer, it does not automatically update the firmware. You actually have to initiate the firmware from your computer. You can turn off that warning and turn off that notification, but there's really no reason to ever really update your firmware. All right, so we're going to go back. Wait, I think it was another question that I had on here. What was the other question? Wait. Hold on. I'm thinking about a backup workforce that'll be most cost effective in the long run. And you can go longer without printing on a workforce printer. I've gone 4 weeks. I've gone 6 weeks. Someone said when they were moving, they went about 2 months. Plug that workforce back up and didn't have to do anything. Workforces, you can go a lot longer without printing on those, and you don't have to worry about it drying up or getting air clogs. That's what it was. Are all workforce cartridge replacements the same price for each printer? Yes. So these are different. They charge us way more for the newer ones. And it's not necessarily the cartridge, it's the chip that they charge us more for. So they are not the same. If you were to go to, let's say, the empty cartridges for the 252s, they are 36, I think, or $25.63, which, oh, actually, that has to be updated. The price of that has changed. I think they're going to be $33.65. So that's the empty cartridges. That's how much they cost. Empty cartridges for the newer printers, we don't currently sell them without the syringes. We've been doing it a year now, so a lot of people probably will have them. And we can sell a set without it because you already have your syringes and needles. But when we first started, we had them without, and then people were complaining. So we just always sold them with it because it was a newer printer. Most times, a lot of people are ordering the replacement cartridges because they already have a system for the 252 and they just need new cartridges because that was a lot older. The newer one, people didn't have a system at all. Like they didn't have any of the setup. They needed syringes and needles. So currently right now, we do not sell them without the syringes and needles. But even once that changes, that only takes off $1. Like this set is like, I think $5 or $4. So it's not going to take off much when we remove them and you just get the cartridge. But the cartridges are $75. I understand. Yes, it's pricey, but that is because of how much they charge us for those chips. They charge us an arm and a leg for chips that are single use because of how they have to program them. It is a more difficult process to program the 812s because they all have to have their own serial number versus programming the 252s, which is just putting the 252 firmware on it. So can you repeat the answer for the firmware? You don't really have to ever update your firmware. If you're worried about the warning that comes on your printer, just ignore it. Or even if you hit OK, it does not initiate the firmware. Your firmware is initiated from your computer, but you can disable the notifications. Now, I can't speak for EcoTank printers, but I do have a video on how to disable it on the workforce printers. Okay, you do use chips. Your cartridges has a chip on it. So people think that they're not. Unless you're using a chipless firmware, you are using chips with it. You just don't have to change the chips for the 7710 and 7720. But there is a chip on it. Every single cartridge has a chip. Even Epson cartridges have a chip on them. All right, where did those go? Oh. So see, even an Epson cartridge has a chip. The chip is what controls every single printer that has cartridges. So there's a chip on Canons, there's a chip on HPs, or it's like on the Canon ones, it's like a little strip. It's soft, but it's still basically a chip. Every single cartridge-based printer has a chip on it. It's just that with this style, you can use, it's an auto reset. So it'll basically go, and even with these, you'll print, and then it's going to show an X, and it's going to say cartridge not recognized. That means that either the chip needs to be replaced or it needs to be reset. With this style, if it's an auto reset, you take it out, you put it back in, it's going to reset. It does, if it just says that it's low and you take it out, put it back in, it will not reset. It has to show an X first. Oh my gosh, come on, y'all, tap that screen over here. I understand it's great information, but let's help get the algorithm back up. Let's help get some more views in. This is great information, so I can get you guys to tap that screen over here. I mean, I've been on for an hour and 14 minutes. We should definitely be way higher than 1,000 likes. So you use a chip resetter. So let's say it's low and you want to reset all of your chips at one time so they all read full. I don't know where my chip resetter is, but you use a chip resetter on these. If you don't have a chip resetter and you're using if you are using a old school workforce 7610, 7620, 7110, 78, 7710, 7720, or 7210, please go to the website and get you a chip resetter. It can keep you from having that print that stops in the middle. If you want to do it once every 2 weeks, once every month, or as soon as you get that warning, like as soon as you get the warning that says low ink, do an ink cartridge replacement, reset them all, put them back in. It'll all be set to full. This is how you eliminate and you avoid it stopping in the middle of a print. As soon as you see low ink on even one cartridge, take them all out. My bad. I'm not sure how long it's been muted, but I personally take, I have two sets of cartridges. So when it says that it's low, I take them all out. I put the new set in. The one that I took out, I refill them, reset them, put them in my bin. No, you don't have to do anything special. They literally just sit inside of a Dollar Tree little tray. And then the next time I need them, I just switch them out, reset them. You can do that with the old ones. You cannot do that with the new ones. There is no difference in them. Durabright is their name for it. So it's like it's their branded name. You know how we have HS ink. I have like incredible sublimation ink. If I had like the blank spot has, even though they're called the blank spot, their EcoTank, their Eco Solvent ink is called Eco Vibes. So it's just their signature name for it. But Durabright Ultra means pigment ink because they have Durabright Ultra. They have just their regular dye. They have Claria, something like that. They have Ultra Chrome or something like that. So they have a bunch of different names for different formulas. So that's just what they call their pigment ink. But that's all that it is pigment ink. In the EcoTank printers, like in all the EcoTank printers, the black ink is called Photo Black. Photo Black is nothing more than pigment ink. So it's just identifying the difference between dye ink and pigment ink. So it's called Photo Black, but Photo Black just means that it's pigment ink. Search Honestly Speaking, disable, just search Honestly Speaking firmware and you'll find the video on how to disable your firmware updates. She says, I just went almost 2 months with no printing. No, there won't be. I always get that question. There will not be one. They've already said that because if you just reset it, you cannot reprogram a serial number. And the way that Epson designed these printers, each chip needs its own dedicated serial number. So it's highly unlikely that you will get a reset one. It's been almost 2 years now, a year and a half, somewhere in there. So they've said that they highly doubt they're ever going to be a resettable one because it requires a serial number, which also means there is no continuous ink system where you can just reset the chips. Even if you buy the continuous ink system tanks, you still need replacement chips. You read the fine print, the CIS, the continuous ink system, will say with no chips. You still need the chips for those. There is no reset option and there's no chipless firmware. The difference between, so they're night and day. Pigment ink is just regular ink. You print it out and you get the full color. So it's your regular ink, like it's your regular ink that's in a regular printer. The difference between like your traditional inks that you like are probably used to is dye inks run. This does not run. But dye inks has a better color gamut. Dye inks used to be great for screen printers because it blocks light. So they used to like dye-based printers. They work great for photos. Most photo printers use dye-based ink and they just print to a waterproof paper. But that is what pigment ink is. It's for stuff like this. You're just able to print it out and make a sticker. Sublimation, once you print it out, it's not going to be a bright, vibrant color. You're going to have to press this in order to get the correct color. Okay, I've been using the same refillable cartridge for so long, I forgot it's still technically a different chip from Epson. So should I be able to refill those cartridges with your ink? Yes, you can, and get a chip resetter. I already answered that one. Good tip. I have a second set of refillable cartridges, so I'll do that. Yes. Okay, they're not the same. EcoSolvent, water-based, the fake EcoSolvent still allows you to print to printable HTV. You cannot print to true printable adhesive vinyl with a water-based ink. It's gonna run because it needs heat in order for it to set into actual vinyl. People will find things like this and they're gonna say vinyl sticker paper. This ain't real vinyl. This is regular old paper. It's not vinyl. I'm gonna show you why it's not vinyl. Pause. This is vinyl. This is printable vinyl. This is printed from my Rolling BN20. This is how we print our product stickers for our company. All right. I cannot just rip this. If I pull it, I'll stretch it and I have to really pop it. And how that hurt my shoulder. But it will stretch first before it breaks. So you pull like that. Okay. This is not vinyl. I absolutely hate it. It boils my blood that they call that because it's a marketing thing. Sometimes I wish I could be that business person that says, I'm gonna do what I gotta do for y'all to buy it, even though it's not true. Because then that'll probably help me a little bit more because y'all think y'all getting something and that Shakia's lying and oh no, this company has it. It's marketing. This is not vinyl in any way, shape, or form. It is a regular sticker sheet. That's all it is. It's not made the same way. It's not going to last the same way. The adhesive is different on it. It is not vinyl. But that's what y'all are looking for. Y'all want to think that y'all have vinyl. Most people think vinyl means that it's longer lasting. It's not going to fade. So because of how you guys post questions in group and the questions that you're asking, they're playing on that. Like, in all honesty, don't get me wrong. As a sticker paper, I love it. Print's great as a matte paper, but it's definitely not vinyl. It's not vinyl at all. Okay, but because that's what you guys are looking for, and you have this notion that vinyl means better, that's what they're going to put on their packaging to entice you to purchase it. But it is not vinyl. How vinyl is and how this is not vinyl. Okay, vinyl, you can take that off of a, you put on the window, you can easily get that off. Y'all ever seen when they put the little parking violations things on there and you take it off and all that paper rips off? It's just a sticker. This can do the same thing. You put it on there, you leave it on there too long, you take it off, it's going to come off in sections and it's going to leave the paper residue on there and they're going to have to get it off that way. It's not vinyl, guys. It's not vinyl. Okay. So with the water-based ones, you cannot print to that. Can you print to something like this with the converted EcoSolvent printers? Yes, you can. You can print to something like this with that, but you cannot print to 651 or Jet printable vinyl. You cannot print to any of those, but you can print to Caesar Easy Subli, Color Print PU, CAD cuts like Stahl's printable HTV. You can print to those. Now, if you have a roll-in, you're not limited in the media that you can print on that takes EcoSolvent, solvent, or latex ink. EcoSolvent is it's just a way to be able to print to vinyl that's a little bit thinner. If you don't have an EcoSolvent printer, you just take your regular pigment ink and you print to Jet Pro 3G. It's not that much of a difference as far as a slight difference in the sound, but as far as how it looks, my niece turns 9 years old on Tuesday. She turns 9 on Tuesday. What age does this say? So how old is this shirt? And I'm washed out, so it looks crazy. I have other videos and I have pictures of this shirt. You can see how vibrant it looks. Y'all on TikTok, you're seeing the real color. It might not seem vibrant to y'all over here on Facebook and YouTube because for some reason this camera is washing out because I said enough first. I was like, "Whoa, what's wrong with the color over here?" But look at this. It's not cracking. It's not like where you're missing colors or anything like that. And up until this past year, I wore this. So for 2 years, I wore this and washed this religiously. And she will be 9 on Tuesday. So this shirt is 3 years old. So for me, EcoSolvent wasn't this game changer. EcoSolvent wasn't a game changer for me for putting things on shirts, other than the fact that you can easily mask it. That's like one of the biggest advantages. I was doing shirts, making money, selling shirts. I mean, I can't tell you how many I'm going to post pictures. Y'all follow my Facebook account and my Instagram. You're going to see, I'm going to post because we're getting up on grad season. I'm about to post almost everything I've done for grad, to get the buzz out. I did so many shirts, and it was done with Jet Pro 3G. Graduation shirts, birthday shirts, retirement shirts, baby shower shirts, like some of everything with this ink, with pigment ink and Jet Pro 3G. So my EcoSolvent printer, we mainly print vinyl for these, for large cutouts, for posters and banners and stuff like that. No, thank you. I know it's hot here. I don't know. And y'all too cold. I heard y'all have earthquakes too. Nobody got time for that. I have so many that I use, but that one right there that I just showed, you can go back and look at that. You can use that one. I have that one. We have some koala one. I have a bunch. I'm a paper hoarder. I'm a sticker paper hoarder. So I have a whole bunch of them. I don't know what size that is. I know I printed it with 11 on I only buy Jet Pro in 11 by 17. So I'm not sure. This is an extra large shirt. This print is 10 by 9. It's a 10 by 9 print. I'm sorry I came in late. I know you're probably already answered this, but what's the best works for? So any of them. So the equivalent of a 7720 is 7840. But you have the 7840, 7820, 7310. Those are the new workforce printers. Let's see. My nephew is wearing his same shirt from 3 years ago with Jet Pro, with 3G Jet Pro you suggested in another video. Exactly. It lasts a really long time. I don't have any issue with them. On white shirts, color shirts, I use Jet Pro 3G. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Which one says you must use dye ink? I don't know. I just know the koala paper that I use. It's a photo paper, and I just use that one, so I'm not sure. You would have to go to my Facebook group and just post the cover of it or post the link for it, and I can kind of look at that to see if that's one that I've used. But I can only go off of the paper that I personally have used. Let me see. I don't think the one here says. No, this says all inkjet printers. So. Yeah. They all say all inkjet printers. Been on for 90 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes. All right. Now again, I'm going to say last call, last time y'all end up asking a bunch of questions, but last call for questions. Ooh, the heck was that? Remember, the chip resetter does not work for the 812s. So if you have a old school workforce and the new workforce, you can get the chip resetter. But the chip resetter does not work with the new cartridges. And I only say that, I'm not sure if you're still watching, because I do see that you purchase these and you also purchased a chip resetter. So hopefully your chip resetter is for your older workforce printer, because they do not work. I got my paper today. Yes. Let me know. Remember, if you've used to other settings and you're trying to use premium mat, you're going to get pinwheels. It's not meant for that unless you're going to take your density all the way down. Oh, you still have the 7210. Perfect. Okay. We recommend read the instructions, please. You know, some people like to come and say, oh, we don't do this. I had horrible, because they didn't bother to read the instructions. And I had someone come back and say, yo, my bad. I want to apologize to Miss Shakila, because he still calls me Shakila. And he was like, yo, this paper is, amazing. Once you read the instructions, I even made a discount code with his name on it. You just had to change it and you get vibrant colors. This shirt was printed in plain paper with plain paper setting. I use plain paper setting with our paper for sublimation. When pressing a baby blanket, how do you get the lines out? The same way that you would do a shirt. I mean, if you're doing it with an easy press, really no way of doing it. You're doing it on a heat press. I put butcher paper over it and I press it out. But I normally, if I'm doing a baby blanket, I'm normally either going to do, if it's just a small one there, I will cut it as close to it as possible. But most times I'm doing a full print, so I'm tiling it together anyway. But if you can cover the whole thing, it's better that way. Will your website tell me what I need for my 7310? I'm not say tell you what you need, but it's so I'll go back over here. You just click on, so on our website, we have it. You just look for the printer. You scroll down, even if you're on your phone, scroll down. There's a blue thumbnail. It lists the printers. Here, it lists that printer. So you're going to click on that one. And this is everything that you will need. Like this is the chip. Like it just comes in one. Like it's not like a lot of stuff that you need. It's just cartridges, syringes, needles, and ink. Or if you want just if you already have ink, you want just the cartridges, needles, if you want extra chips, or you get chips. And then of course our paper. We have the paper, ink, and tape bundle. So this has the paper, the ink, and the tape. So if you want to get this, then you just add this right here. Oh, wait, y'all can see that. So we have a paper ink tape bundle. We have tape from 1/2 inch all the way up to 6 inches. Our tape is non-staining, non-marking. If you are tired of getting yellow marks or getting yellow marks with the cheap tape that you're using, go to our website, get you some tape. Like I said, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. It does not stain. It doesn't mark. You can actually touch your tumbler, touch your shirts. I've done several videos where I have used it and it does not stain, doesn't mark. And we, like I said, we have 1/2 inch all the way up to 6 inches. So you don't have to be worried about having those horrible yellow marks on there. Yeah, so we have it on our website. So you can get this and then just this if you want a full bundle. If not, you just need this. You can just get the kit and paper if you don't need tape. Oh, I don't mind questions at all. I don't mind questions at all. I'm not going to say, again, I can't say what's the best printer. I'm an Epson girl. I'm an Epson girl, and I love workforce printers. I have a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, who uses the 8550. She had all workforce printers before. It was, I guess it got a little frustrated with her with changing them out. So she ended up getting not one, but two 80. I think she has two 8550s. And she likes them. Again, she wet it and I saw it blur a little bit. It does have that black photo ink in it, but bright colors don't need black. So that can still smear. But as a printer, the 8550 is absolutely amazing. If you're going to, especially if you're going to use like waterproof paper and like waterproof sticker paper and like photo paper and stuff, it can be great. If you're printing some matte, I like matte things. I use Navigator Platinum, Hammer Mill, and Koala, and some other stuff, whatever. And I just like those. And so I can still get great vibrant colors and it will not run when I'm using my pigment ink printers. So because I like Epson and pigment ink, my printers of choice is going to be the newer workforces that use these. Or if you want to spend $1,000, you can get the 16600 or 16650 printers. That's what I prefer. Now, they depends on the type of prints that you're going to do. If you're looking for a printer that's going to print more of like those neonish, fluorescent, like magentas and greens and stuff like that, pigment ink depict like, your monitor shows it way brighter than how it's going to print out. The color gamut is different. So you're not going to get those type of colors with the pigment ink printer. So if you're wanting more of those, you may need to have more than one. Like I have a bunch of printers. I have laser printers. I have pigment ink printers. That's what I'm considering it only because I do want a dye-based printer whenever I need those types of colors, but you may need multiple printers. One printer does not solve all of your needs. That's why I say I can't say which one is going to be best. HP is fine. It's just certain papers don't work well with HP because it has a thermal print head, whereas Epsons don't have a thermal print head. So papers that are meant for, especially glossy papers that are meant for inkjet and laser, Epson printers can handle them. Most times HPs can't. But yeah, for all of my party favors, I use my Epson printers. I get so confused when ordering your tape, hence my last 2 orders of tape. What do you mean you get confused? What do you get confused about? But it's the only one I use and I love it. What do you get confused about? Let me know. Oh, wait, did I change back my bundle? Maybe that's why. I don't know if I changed back the bundle. Oh, no, okay, yeah, it's back to being a 1/2 inch and a 1 inch. Because when we were out of the 1 inch, we had that as a 2 inch and a 1/2 inch, but we do have the 1 inch tape now. You are very welcome. Oh, so yeah, the only one that fits the tape dispenser is the 1 inch. We don't have a 1.5 inch. So you could only get the 1 inch and it's not going to fill the whole thing. So this is the only one. We only have a 1 inch. Half an inch, you could add a 1 inch and a half an inch. It's just that when you're twisting it, you got to make sure you're using both. If not, you're wasting that tape because it's going to still go through. But yeah, so on this one, I just have my 1 inch. We don't have a 1.5 inch tape. And 2 inch does not fit this at all. This is only 1.5 inches. But see, I have a dispenser that holds my 3 inch tape. So I have a lot of dispensers. Like I said, one thing is not going to do the job. Sometimes you're going to have to spend money on some things that you need. So I have one. It's not an automatic one, but it has like good teeth. And this is one. This fits my 3 inch. Actually, it might fit my 4 inch tape. I got a lot of equipment. I don't like, especially with the bigger ones. Sometimes it's hard to pull it. So you got to get things for those. I wish they had the little cutesy one for it, but they don't. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity. Be incredible. Hopefully, if you guys enjoyed this, hopefully you gave this video a thumbs up. Hopefully you shared it out. Hopefully you tagged a friend if you know somebody that needs this information. If you have not subscribed, I'm hoping that you have hit the subscribe button as well as the bell so that you're notified whenever I release new content or go live. If you're watching over on Facebook, make sure that you hit follow, change your notifications to see first. That way you don't miss any of my content over on Facebook or YouTube. Here on TikTok, make sure that you hit the bell and turn that to, I think it also says all instead of personalized, so that when I go live, it'll say I'm inviting you to the live because you chose to follow my page. Okay. Oh, you got the big 16,600. Yeah, I just can't. Oh no, for me, the $1,000 and it really did nothing more than what the workforce did. I just couldn't justify that. It's not like I don't have the money, but it's like, why spend money when you don't have to? So they never really appealed to me. I've never had an issue, and I use Wi-Fi. I don't think I've ever had an issue with it making a difference in how it's plugged in. But if that's working for you, amazing. As always, it's been informative. Hey, you're watching from both platforms. Thank you. Oh, you were bamboozled? Oh, gosh. Oh, you haven't put ink in it yet. You're going to use it for sublimation or for just for regular ink. I'm not saying it's not a great printer. I mean, and it's like, it's an EcoTank printer. It's just for me, whenever you get any EcoTank printer I'm sorry, I know I said my closing, but I'm going to say this. Whenever you get an EcoTank printer for sublimation, the cost is not like they're giving you free ink. The cost of that is these printers that really don't do a lot, but the way that it outputs the ink lasts longer. And you're paying for that ink, but I'm like, it ain't like it's that much ink. It's 140 milliliters in some, or 70 milliliters. I'm like, it ain't really that much ink, people. Like meaning talking to Epson. So I can't, when you're doing sublimation, you're paying for the EcoTank printer for this 2 years of ink that you will never use, and that is overpriced. I got a problem with that. I don't see how you can have a printer that is less efficient as far as speed and print resolution, and you charge double the amount or more. So when you really look at workforce and 16,600, it's almost 3 times the amount. Harpo, for what? I get the ink lasts a little bit longer. It's the equivalent of how many cartridges it will take for that same, like before it runs out. I get that. But when you're converting it, you're paying for something that you're not going to use because you still have to put sub ink in it. So it just didn't sit right with me. Even if you want to sell the ink that came with it, No one's paying you $300 for 4 bottles of ink. So you're still paying more for something you really don't need. The most that you're going to get for that ink is what Epson charges for it. So what, maybe like $10 a bottle or $12 a bottle or whatever. You're not going to get $300 for that ink that comes in that printer. So it just don't sit right with me. The money don't make sense to me. Oh, well, baby, you might as well go ahead and put your HS ink in that printer because you can't return it. It's been a year. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and just put that ink in that printer and call it a day, shout. Either put that sub ink in it or put the ink that came with it and make you some dope stickers and labels and invitations and printing cuts and gable box covers, Caprisa. Put you some regular ink in there and keep it moving, shouting. You're gonna have to watch this again. It's long. It's an hour and 45 minutes, but I broke that down. I'm ready to get off. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, but someone asked it along the way. But yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say what's the best because I can only say what's best for me. And for my needs, Epson Workforce printers are best for my needs. All right, y'all. Shop at hsync365.com. Peace.